This movie will look at the revise issue print command, which is in the File menu. Before we have a look at the dialog in detail, I'm going to switch to a layer that has a title block on it, which is this one, and explain something about the differences between having a title block on a design layer and having a title block on a sheet layer. When a title block is on a design layer, it is assumed that there may be other layers that are required to be visible to produce the drawing that's associated with this particular title block, and possibly a particular set of class visibilities. For this reason, when you place a title block on a design layer, you can associate it with a particular saved view. Now in this drawing I have one saved view, and it's called Floor Plan 1. And if I put that name Floor Plan 1 into this field here, it means that when the revise issue print command brings up this particular title block, it will also recall the saved view that's associated with it. This is not necessary for sheet layers because sheet layers are an entity in themselves. So let's go ahead and put this name in here, Floor Plan 1. Now we'll go and have a look at the revise issue print command. And you'll see here that this particular drawing that we were just talking about has a saved view, sheet layer, view name. It has a view entered. So that means that when this command comes to print that particular sheet, it's going to make that saved view visible and print that saved view. Here are two more title blocks that are just on a design layer, and they don't have a saved view associated with them. And what this means is that when these two are printed, or when time comes to print these two layers, only the layer that the title block on is going to be made visible and printed. For sheet layers, it doesn't matter because a sheet layer is an entity to itself, as I said before. Now if I go to batch print mark sheets now, it will actually remind me that there are a couple of layers here that don't have a saved view set. And if you go, well, I don't mind about that, you click yes. If you go, no, I forgot to set that saved view, then this is the opportunity to do it. So just to reiterate, the sheets that you want to print are the ones that will have a tick beside them. You can toggle them on and off by clicking or using these controls down the bottom here. The columns can be made wider or narrower if you want to read what the drawing name is, if it's a long name. And once you've made your selection here, to do a print, you just click Batch Print Marked Sheets. You'll get that message we spoke about a moment ago. Click yes, and then it will say, are you sure you want to print the 4 marked sheets? Now we won't do that because I want to talk about something else here, and that is the reset plot dates. If you have a plot date included in your title block, and it's totally optional, then using the revise issue print command will automatically update that plot date to whatever date is in this box here when you click the batch print sheets command. Now let me just show you what I mean by that. This particular title block doesn't have a plot date on it. So I'm going to switch to a title block that does have a plot date on it. Let's click our choose base symbol, and then I know that this one here has a plot date on it. So we'll switch to that, and you can see the plot date is there, and the plot date has never been set before because that's the default value, and you'll see that in here. It just says plot date. And by the way, I could manually come in here and type in a plot date, but we're trying to automate stuff here. So there's no plot date here, but we're about to plot the drawing. So let's just try plotting that one drawing. So we'll go unmark all, click in the top left hand one there, which is just that sheet, and go batch print mark sheets. We'll click yes, and we don't actually have to print the sheet for this to show up. So when I click done now, you can see that the plot date in this title block has actually changed, and that will change every time that you plot plot the file, provided you have reset plot dates turned on. Now, if you want to enter a revision for multiple sheets at the same time, then you just literally enter your initials here and the date here. It's always going to fill in today's date, and you just enter the revision note, whatever it is, and whatever sheets are checked here, when I click enter this revision, then that revision is going to get entered into all of those sheets. Let's click yes. If there was an issue, then the same thing will apply. We could say maybe it's going to the engineer. Enter this issue, yes, and then those things have been entered. Now notice now that batch print has been grayed out. That's because you can't issue revisions and print in the same session. What I have to do now is to click done, and what that will do is to enter this revision note and this issue note into all of the title blocks. And if we look here, you'll see that there's that revision we just entered, there's that issue we just entered. Now we can print the title blocks because those things have updated. If we want to add a drawing stamp, we can do that here. Again, it applies to the sheets that are checked. Edit drawing stamps, and there's another movie that talks about these. But if I click OK with this set to say for development application only, then that's what's going to get printed or added to the title blocks. We have don't use layer colors, so if you are using layer colors you can leave that checked to turn that off. Black and white only will switch the drawing to black and white. Save before printing. It will ask you to save the drawing before printing. Separate print dialog for each sheet. Sometimes this can be useful if you want to send prints to a different printer or different page sizes or different page setups. That's when you can turn that on. Finally, let's take a look at the create or update transmittal. We have added a revision and an issue. So let's go ahead and click on create or update transmittal. It will just ask us to confirm the person who's doing this and the date again, and to confirm that the worksheet is going onto the transmittal layer, and also to load the date and current revision into the next revision column. So we go create or update now, click done, and whenever you update the transmittal, you'll automatically be taken to that, and you'll see here that this latest one has been added here, and we only issued 3 drawings in this revision. So all we'd need to do now is to come through here and enter the distribution information. So that pretty well sums up the revise issue print command, and in another movie we'll actually look at setting up the transmittals and how you can customize those.